Well, hello, English 111 students. This is Dr. Mark Tinsley, and we are in, believe it or not, week 7 of our course, October 5th through the 11th. And this week we're going to be talking about structuring the argument. Now, you should be reading chapter 7 in your textbook, so go ahead and read chapter 7. And really, there are no other assignments due this week. If you look on your syllabus, you look at the weekly schedule, you'll see October 5th through the 11th, which is week 7, structuring the argument, part 1, read chapter 7, no assignments due. Now, that being said, we are in the process of writing essay number 2. Now, I have graded essay number 1. All the grades for those people who turned it in, your grades are in Canvas. Go ahead, go into Canvas, click the grade book, click on your grade. Your paper should come up, and you should see my comments. I want you to go through those comments. We're going to talk about those in just a second. But I want you to go through those comments, see what I said, see if you understand it. If you don't, let me know. Email me, text me, call me, and let's talk through it. But that's something you do need to do this week. Not only read chapter 7, but look at the comments on essay 1. Also, once you've looked at those comments on essay 1, I need you to go into the week 6 folder. We talked about this last week. And select your topic for this next essay, essay number 2. But here's the thing. Now, hear me clearly on this. And I need everybody to listen up. So if you're not listening, open your ears now, because here we go. Essay number 2. Here's the thing. Essay number 2 is the same topic. And you're going to use essay number 1 as your base. In other words, you're going to take essay 1, and what we're going to do is we're going to make corrections to essay 1 and make it better. This is what we call mastery learning. Mastery learning, I'm going to go over this really quickly. Mastery learning is a type or a philosophy of education that says, instead of completing assignment, getting a grade, and moving on to the next assignment, even if you didn't fully grasp the material in the first assignment, that's typically how we do in American education. You get your grade and you move on. But mastery learning says, no. If you've missed something in the first assignment, then let's go back and do that first assignment again and again and again until we master it, until we understand it, till we've done it well, done it to standard, done it in a way that we've achieved the learning objectives for the assignment. Essay 1, many of you did very, very well on, but everybody has things you can do better. And I've noted those things in the comments you will find in Canvas. So we're going to look at the same topic. We're going to use essay 1 as the base, and we're going to improve upon essay 1, and that's going to be essay 2. Now, why do I make you wait? Or why did I ask you to wait to put, you say, well, if it's the same topic, why did you ask me to wait to select my topic for essay 2? Because essay 2 is going to ask you about your thesis statement. What's your thesis statement? What's your topic? What's your assertion? I may even ask you what your main points are. I can't remember. But anyway, you had to have my comments because some of you didn't quite get the thesis statement right, or maybe didn't get it right at all. And you had other problems that you need to tweak before you go in and select your topic for essay 2 and refine it. I hope that makes sense. Okay? So again, same topic, use essay 1 as the base. I want you to look at my comments on essay 1 and make corrections to it. That's what you're going to do. You need to tweak your thesis statement if necessary. You need to change the structure of your argument if necessary. Whatever you need to do, do it. What you're going to add to this, other than the changes and making it better, is you're also going to use MLA formatting this time, and you're going to use at least 2 scholarly sources. Now remember, the last time in essay 1, we didn't have any sources. This time, I want at least 2 scholarly sources. So you need to integrate sources into this paper. Now, some of you had sources in essay 1. So you're way ahead of the ball game, but most of you did not. So you're going to have to go out, do some research. If you need to hone your research skills, go back to the lecture on research, which was, I believe, week 5. You can go back and listen to that lecture again. But you're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to find at least 2 scholarly sources and integrate them into your paper using in-text citations and MLA formatting. Okay? All right. Let me go over this again because I just want to make sure everybody's on the same sheet o' music. Essay 2 is basically Essay 1 again, but we're making it better. We're revising it based on my comments and making it better. That, if you want to conceptualize it the simplest way, that's all we're doing. You turned in Essay 1. I turned it back to you with a grade and with comments on how to make it better. Now go back and make it better. Sometimes that means you're going to have to change your thesis statement. Sometimes it means you're going to have to change your topic sentences. Sometimes it means you're going to have to change your structure, your argument. Hey, let's face it, some of you did really well. You might not have to change a whole lot at all except put it in MLA formatting and integrate 2 scholarly sources. Here's the key, though. Everyone must make your paper better. If I see someone turn in the very same paper, you automatically get a 0 on it. And I have your old paper, right? It's in the system, so I can go back and check it. If I can tell that you have not added anything, that you just sat around for a few weeks, did nothing, and just turned in Essay 1 again and called it Essay 2, then you will get a 0 on the paper. You must make your paper better. All right, it's the same topic. You're turning in Essay 1 again with improvements. But if you don't make any improvements, then you're going to get a 0. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, same topic. Essay 1 is a base. Look at my comments, make corrections, tweak your thesis, change your structure if you need to, use MLA, use at least 2 scholarly sources. If that's not clear, you need to contact me and let's square it away for me. I think it should be pretty clear. It's pretty straightforward, I think. But, every now and again, I'll have a student that doesn't quite understand what I want. That's fine. If you're one of the students that doesn't understand, it's fine. Let me know. We'll square you away. Okay? All right. Let's go on to structuring the argument. We've talked about a lot of this before, or some of this before, but now we're going to dig a little deeper. Okay. When we think of the spine in a body, what does the spine of our bodies do, right? The spine houses the central nervous system, or at least the spinal cord of the central nervous system, doesn't it? So it protects the spinal cord. The spine also provides structure. We are able to stand up erect, right, and walk around because our spine holds us up. You take the spine away, you take away protection of our spinal cord, which could be damaged very easily at that point, right? It could be twisted, it could be cut. You also take away the structure of the body. We would just be kind of limp on the ground with our spinal cords, right? So the spinal cord, the spine in the human body is very important. It holds everything up. It kind of holds everything together. The same is true of a thesis statement. It's the spine of your essay. It's what holds everything together. What does a thesis statement have? It has at its most rudimentary form. It includes a topic, that is what you're talking about, and an assertion, your claim, what it is you want to quote unquote prove or defend in your paper. Now, I noticed that some people had trouble, not a lot. Actually, this class was really, really good, but some people had trouble with the assertion. Remember, a topic is easy. I'm doing it on abortion. I'm doing it on civil rights. I'm doing it on baseball or whatever your topic is. That's usually easy for people to come up with. But the assertion for the argument, the claim, the thing you're going to defend is sometimes a little harder. Think about it this way. Think of something that you want to say. And I hate to say use the word opinion because that's not what I want to use, but some claim that you want to, no matter how bold it is. For example, abortion. Abortion should be legalized, or abortion should be illegal. Whatever your take on that is, you're making a bold claim. You're saying this topic of abortion and your opinion, or your stance, I should say, that's probably a better word, on this is that it should be legalized or should remain legalized or should be illegal. Okay? Notice that's an assertion. That is something I can defend. An opinion, and I do want to use the word opinion this time, is something you can't defend. Like, for example, if I say, I love the color blue, well, that's an opinion. It's great. I love the color blue, but I can't prove that I love the color blue. I can't prove that the color blue is the best color in the world. It's just an opinion. It's something I prefer. So I can't defend that. If I can't defend something, then that's what we call an opinion. If I can defend it, that is an assertion. That's a claim. That's a defensible product. So you want to make sure that you're making assertions. So your thesis statement has a topic and your claim, your bold claim. The bolder the better. I love bold claims because they're fun to defend for the writer. Okay? I don't have it in here, but it's also good to include in your thesis statement. I'm going to ask you to do this from now on, and some of you did this, some of you did not, but it also includes your main points, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay? But again, the spine of an essay is the thesis statement. All right? Has everybody got that? You got to get that thesis statement right. And we'll look at where that goes here in just a few minutes. According to Toolman, and this is in your textbook, every assertion or claim has to have an underlying warrant that supports the assertion or claim. In other words, there are things that underlie our assertions, our claims, that hold them up, right? That give them warrant. And what we have to do is we have to know what those warrants are. So when we make a claim, we got to go back and say, what are the warrants? What are the things that hold this up and support this assertion? And then we have to analyze those warrants to be sure they make sense and that they're acceptable, right? And if they don't make sense or are unacceptable, then we must revise our assertions or our claims. I'm going to show you what I mean by this, okay, here in just a moment. But for the time being, your assertion or your claim has things underlying it that support it, that lay the foundation for it. We have to look at those things and make sure they're logical, make sure they make sense and are acceptable. If they're not, we need to change our assertion. Let me give you an example. Let's say this is our assertion or our claim. No one should ever be allowed to drive faster than the posted speed limit. Now that's a claim, right? I can defend that. And so this is a legitimate, this is not an opinion, this is a claim, right? Because I can defend it. The underlying warrant for this could be that driving fast is dangerous and can result in accidents, which can result in catastrophic injuries to drivers and others. So that's what holds my warrant, or that's a warrant that holds my assertion up. I can say, or I hold the opinion, no one should ever be allowed to drive faster than the posted speed limit because in the back of my mind and in the real world, driving fast is dangerous. Okay? Do you see how that gives my assertion warrant? But does it make sense? All right? Does this completely make sense? Well, the answer to this particular one is yes and no. Now, this is where we're analyzing. Remember, we said got to look at our warrants, and then we got to analyze them to see if they make sense. And the answer to this is yeah, it does, and no, it doesn't. For example, what about police officers and emergency responders? Are there times when they can be allowed to drive faster than a posted speed limit? I mean, if I'm at my house and somebody's breaking in, and I call the police, I want them to get there fast. So, hey, I want them right, to drive faster than the posted speed limit. Same thing if I'm at home and I'm having a medical emergency. I want the first responders to be able to get there quickly. So we got to think about that. So that's no, right? It doesn't quite make sense for police and emergency responders. And what about someone driving a choking child to the emergency room? Does it make sense then? Oh, just go the speed limit. Now, I know your child's choking, but you don't want to break the law. Well, obviously, if my child is choking, I'm getting to the hospital fast. And what about race car drivers on a racetrack, right? Obviously, they're motivated to go fast to win the race. And, of course, you're saying race car drivers aren't on the public highway, so this doesn't apply. Just humor me, okay? But you see that it does make sense. We know that driving is dangerous, but it also doesn't make sense because there are exceptions. And so this is where qualifiers come in. Qualifiers are words or phrases that demonstrate the limitations of someone's argument or assertion. They're words like few, some, most, often, in general, for the most part, typically, in some cases, and the list goes on and on. And these qualifiers say, okay, I realize there are limits to what I am saying. And folks, let me tell you, qualifiers are your friend. Right? Qualifiers can really get you out of some hot water. For example, in our example that we're looking at now, what if I revised my assertion or claim to say few people should ever be allowed to drive faster than the posted speed limit? Notice that I took out no one and I replaced it with few people. Few is a qualifier that recognizes the limitations of the statement that I originally made, and thus becomes a much better thesis. Do you see how I revised my thesis? I started with an assertion. I looked at the underlying warrants for that assertion. I analyzed those warrants to see if they make sense. And because in some cases my assertion didn't make complete sense, I used qualifiers and I revised my assertion to be more acceptable. And folks, you need to do this kind of thing with your thesis statement. So for essay number 2, go back and look at your thesis statement and revise it as necessary. Use qualifiers if you need to, but make sure that you are looking at the underlying warrants and analyzing them. That is key to make your argument sound. Okay? So that's the basics of the thesis statement. All right, let's look at the main body of your paper. Now, the main body is where we present our evidence, right? So we have our thesis statement, it makes our assertion. But now we have to have our 3 or 4 or 5 main points that support that assertion. Okay, so each main body paragraph should present only one evidence or reason to support your thesis statement. You don't want your main body paragraphs to be just a bunch of information being thrown at your reader. Some of you did that on this paper, and I kind of expected it in some cases, right? I mean, it's just what happens. When you're writing your first paper, sometimes you do this sort of thing. But what you want to do is you want to find out, when you're looking at your thesis, you say no one should, or a few people should drive faster than the posted speed limit. And we're going to do this in a minute. You want to come up with 3 reasons why. Why should few people not drive faster than posted speed limit? And those 3 reasons become your 3 main points. And then each one of those reasons gets its own paragraph in the main body of the work. Now, each of those main body paragraphs should begin with a topic sentence that clearly states what the evidence is. So your first sentence in each main body paragraph is a topic sentence that says, okay, now this is the main point I'm going to talk about in this paragraph. And then the rest of that paragraph should present the facts, the anecdotes, the statistics, or whatever that support that reason or that evidence. Okay? Does that make sense? Topic sentence and everything else supports that. You also want to think about rebuttals. Potential rebuttals should be considered and addressed in a paper. Let's talk about that for a minute. What is a rebuttal? Now, a rebuttal is just simply a counter argument. You're making an argument, and you got to think, what are the counter arguments? What are the things that could be said in support of an alternate assertion or claim from what I'm making? What is something that could oppose the evidence that I've presented? And when you think of those things, those are potential rebuttals. Now, you can't address all rebuttals in a 4 to 5 page paper. However, if there is a big rebuttal or a couple of really significant rebuttals that you know you have to address, then you need to address those in your paper. Now, if the rebuttals can be quickly addressed in 1 or 2 sentences, then I've always told students just deal with the rebuttal within the main body paragraph where it is applicable, okay? However, if it's a rebuttal that requires, or a series of rebuttals that require a bit more articulation, it's going to require a paragraph or 2 to deal with, then deal with those rebuttals after you've dealt with your 3 main body paragraphs that deal with your 3 main points. Okay? Does that make sense? If it doesn't, let me know. But the bottom line is you've got to deal with rebuttals if they are significant, or I always call them the pink elephants in the room. If you have a rebuttal that's a pink elephant in the room, you need to deal with it. And we can talk more about that later. Okay? So let's look at some main points. What do main body evidence's main points look like? So our thesis, we're just going with what we've been talking about already. Our thesis is few people should ever be allowed to drive faster than a posted speed limit. So then I asked myself, what are the reasons why I say that? And here are my 3 reasons. My 3 reasons, evidences, whatever you want to call them. 1, driving fast limits the driver's reaction time, right? 2, driving fast can cause accidents. And 3, driving fast doesn't allow the driver to enjoy the scenery. Now those, I know that last one's kind of dumb, but I'm just using it as an example. So now driving fast limits reaction time, driving fast causes accidents, and driving fast doesn't allow the driver to enjoy the scenery. Those become my 3 main points that I then expand into 3 main body paragraphs. So my first paragraph would be driving fast limits the driver's reaction time, and then I would talk about that. Use statistics, stories, facts, whatever I need to do to support that driving fast limits a driver's reaction time. Then the second thing, the second main body paragraph then would be driving fast can cause accidents. And I give statistics about accidents. I give statistics and maybe anecdotes and stories about accidents and facts about accidents. And then my third main body paragraph says that driving fast doesn't allow the driver to enjoy the scenery. And then I talk about that in my third main body paragraph. Now, thinking about rebuttals. What's a possible rebuttal to this last one? Driving fast doesn't allow a driver to enjoy the scenery. Well, one possible rebuttal is that people often need to get to their destinations quickly, and viewing scenery is not a high priority. I mean, let's face it, most of us are just using transportation to get to work, right? I mean, get to work, get to do the things, take the kids to the baseball games, softball games, basketball games, football games. We're not worried about the scenery. We're just worried about getting to our destination. And so that might be a possible rebuttal. And so your response to that might be, however, life is short and we must enjoy it while we can. So you see how we make our main point, driving fast doesn't allow us to enjoy the scenery. We think about the possible rebuttal, we address that rebuttal, and we respond to it. And that's what you do. That's how you make a legitimate, solid, intellectual argument. Okay? I know I'm going through this quickly, but I'm hoping that you'll read chapter 7 and you hear this lecture. You can ask me questions. You can go to the writing center or whatever. But this is the basics of writing a solid main body or solid essay, right? We start with a thesis. We make up our 3 main points or 4 main points or 5 main points. We think about possible rebuttals. We draft our responses to those rebuttals. And then we write our conclusion. And in a conclusion, we do 3 basic things. We restate our thesis statement creatively. Don't just do a copy and paste from the introduction. We restate our main points creatively. And we give the reader a next step or 2. That is something to do with the information presented. Folks, it's great if you write a solid essay, but if I don't tell my readers what I need them to do now that they have all this great information that I just gave them, this great argument that I've made, then they might just put down my paper and walk away. But I want them to do something with it, so I need to give them next steps. Let's say something a little more about introductions. We kind of blew through the introduction. We just talked about the thesis earlier. Thesis is part of the introduction, right? And so let's talk about the introduction just a little bit. First of all, the introduction should start off with a sentence or 2 that draws the reader in. Now, you want to use a story, statistics, a fact, whatever, to gain the reader's attention. Some of you did this very, very well in essay number 1. But if you didn't do it on this one. Draw me in as your reader. Give me a crazy statistic or a quote or something that grabs my attention. Folks, if you don't grab your reader's attention, you may not get your reader's attention, okay? So you got to grab it. Get out there. The next thing you want to do in an introduction, the next few sentences, should be to give some background on your topic. Whatever your topic is, just talk about it very generally. Do not start to make your argument here. Just give some general background about it. And then finally, the last sentence in your introduction is your thesis statement. Everything leads up to your thesis statement. So, when you are writing a basic 5-paragraph essay, this is what you're doing. You're starting with an introduction that starts off with a draw, a catch, background information, and then finally the last sentence is a thesis statement. And that thesis statement should be 1 sentence. It should contain a topic, an assertion, and your main points, right? Your 3 main points. Then you write 3 main body paragraphs, and each main body paragraph should have a topic sentence that starts it, that has the main point in that topic sentence, all your supporting points, and any rebuttals that you need to address. And then finally, your conclusion restates your thesis, restates your main points, and gives a next step or 2. And that, folks, is structuring an argument in 24 minutes. Right? This is going to be a shorter lecture. But what I would encourage you to do, since it was a shorter lecture this week, stop this recording, go back and listen to it again, and then stop it and go back and listen to it again. You need to understand this 5-paragraph essay format. Introduction, main body paragraph, main body paragraph, main body paragraph, conclusion. All right? Go back and listen to it again and again and again. And if you have any questions, I need you to ask me. Okay. So what are we doing this week? We're reading chapter 7. You're reading chapter 7 in the weeks, we're in week 7, you're reading chapter 7, so that makes it easy. You're going to go back into the week 6 folder, and you're going to choose your essay topic and thesis, right? And here's what we said, right? Essay 2 is the same topic. We're going to use essay 1 as the base. We're just going to make essay 1 better. But we're going to integrate 2 additional things into it. We're going to use MLA formatting, and we're going to use at least 2 scholarly sources. Okay? It's very important that you understand this. And if you don't, let me know. Okay? All right. Hey, folks, I'm having a great time. I mean, we're almost at the halfway point of the semester, believe it or not. Essay 1 is done, so you've gotten your grade back. Hopefully you were satisfied with that. If you're not satisfied with your grade, don't worry about it, okay? Nobody, unless you didn't turn it in, failed the essay, okay? Unless you didn't turn it in or you just gave me 1 page or something, you didn't fail the essay. The lowest grade I gave for people who gave it an honest try and was, I think, I don't know how, we had a couple C's and D's, but most people got B's and A's, right? And some C's and a D or 2. I can't remember how many. I can't remember the grade distribution. But I didn't fail anybody who gave an honest effort. And if you were one of the unfortunate people who got a D, don't stress out. It's okay. Most likely if you got a D, it's because you only provided a page or 2 of narrative, right? And that's, I had to do that because our papers need to be 4 to 5 pages in length. If you give me an honest try and you meet the standards of the essay, you meet the minimum standards of the essay, you are going to do fine. Just stay with me and do the work. Give me an honest effort and I will give you an honest grade. I've told you that from the beginning. I'm not here to slap you on the wrist or beat you down or anything like that. I'm here to support you and help you grow and learn to be a better writer, okay? You give me an honest effort. You put it in. If I can see that you've put in effort, I will reward that, okay? I'm not saying everybody's going to get an A. I'm just saying I will reward that. I can see it. I will help you. We will grow. If you were excellent writers, all of you already, we wouldn't have to go through this class. You're here to learn how to write, so that's what I want to help you do. But you've got to help me help you, all right? You've got to put in the honest effort. You put in that honest effort, and you will be okay. I'm not saying, again, not promising any A's. I'm just saying you will be fine. Don't worry about your grade. Let me worry about your grade. You just worry about doing your level best, okay? All right. Week 7 is underway, folks. Let's make it a good one. And if you have anything, let me know. I'm here for you. Have a great and wonderful week.